Okay, as traditional, I'm going to keep the name and channel of this one particular person who sent me through this private message secret, not because they're saying something appalling or nasty or horrid or which needs to be shamed and named and all the rest of that, far from it. This one's actually quite a positive message. And he starts out by saying, I'm an atheist. Okay, whatever. That being said, I've watched several of your videos and respect your approach very much. You seem to be skeptical yet somehow hopeful. You seem to keep your feet on the ground while acknowledging the occurrence of your personal spiritual experiences. You also seem to be responsible and mature. Hey, I try. Sometimes I become very immature, but that's primarily just for a laugh, because people often come onto the internet, especially YouTube, just for the S's and G's, if you get my drift. The message goes on. It says, I'm someone who can be trusted. I hope so. Next it says, I've always been eager and curious to delve into this. But I cannot be bothered to swim through the rubbish. I understand precisely where you're coming from. There's too much of that shit out there, and like, it's mental. Either because it may be incorrect and dangerous, or because it's just a waste of time. Yeah, I feel just the same, and I wasted a lot of my time when I was younger. That's why I'm coming onto YouTube, and I'm opening my mouth in a vocal manner, shall we say, yes, against all the various cults and bullshit, because the New Age movement is just loads of cults, you know. You may not all be shaving your head and wearing orange robes and, you know, in the same, like, place of worship and cutting off your genitalia because your cult leader said so or whatever, but it's, you know, it's still all about cults, you know. Anything which is to do with information being portrayed is to a certain extent cult stuff. We just have to accept that and understand that, you know, it's just the way that things are. And so these days it's done through the free market, so there's a feeling of, oh, you know, you've got a choice here, but, you know, it's still cult bullshit. And that fucks me off, especially when all these people promise this, that and the other, alright, and what do they deliver? They just don't. You know, I mean, that's what really pisses me off quite so much. Because if you're going to promise something, you should be able to deliver it, or you should be able to manage expectations in an intelligent manner, rather than just go on about selling beliefs, and then in the end people are arguing about beliefs, when a belief basically is just a fucking belief. It don't mean jack, you know? So, he says, I finally decided to ask you. Thank you for asking. Alright? If you have a minute or two for recommendations on books or websites that can provide a good start of knowledge of the spiritual world. I'm really curious about divination in general, but I don't want to jump into anything improperly and just splash around in the water or inadvertently slide into an abyss in which I'll be lost. That's the reason why I asked you. Okay, I'm going to go out on a limb here, alright, and say there aren't that many of them. Okay, there aren't that many of them. I mean, the primary motivation, if you think about it, for someone to actually write a book or have a website, the primary motivation is not just to help people gain knowledge. Alright, is it? Is it now? No. It's part of their public speaking career, or it's part of their desire to have a product which is attractive to people who have a certain mindset, and the author thinks that they can tap into that mindset and get their sales, or get their views, or whatever. And that's why it's so difficult. And, you know, a lot of these websites just use like the imagery, you know, you got all the people who like the Celtic stuff, there's all the websites with the Celtic imagery and Celtic knotwork and that kind of stuff, and it's selling things that they think that people who like that imagery are also connected to and want to buy. Or it's got like the AdSense banners, so, you know, and so on and so forth. And yes, I am just as guilty to a certain extent, because I'm broadcasting to people who've had a curiosity about New Age, occult, spiritual things, and want to find out more, or are desperately pissed off. Okay, so in that respect, I'm doing just the same, and I'm making a small bit of extra income out of having like the AdSense banners and the rest of that. But also, I'm doing this because I'm pissed off. Alright, I'm doing this because I'm upset. I'm really, really, really upset of all the people out there who are just fucking around and, you know, driving people mad purely for the purposes of gaining money. And I think that that's immoral, I think that's unethical, I think that's undesirable, okay? Yeah, I mean, yes, I wrote one book which is really rather good, and the publishing house could have been a bit dubious, but the book's probably still out there. It's called Transdeism and Divination. Go and check that out under the name Nick Dutch. Go for it, you know. There you go, quickly plug it in there. That's how it's done, you know. Have really weird, spooky lighting, talk about occult, scary things. Plug your book, you know. That's what the hell. All right. I think the best thing to do is just to start practicing meditation. Look into meditation. As far as divination's concerned, you got to use your brain. All right, you got to use your brain and work out what you're trying to achieve, what you can actually achieve. Start with a psychological approach to the whole thing, and just get more heavily involved in weird shit with the passage of time. And if someone's fucking around and pissing you off, keep away from them, because they probably are an asshole, or they've got problems. And I mean, that's another thing which is like really, really sad and bad about all this like occult, supernatural, fucked up weird shit, is because there are subcultures associated with it. And who is attracted to subcultures? People who can't get on in mainstream culture. Okay, people who can't get on in mainstream culture are attracted to subcultures. So are you going to come across mad people, or sad people, or stupid people, or people with forms of brain chemistry abnormality that they're in denial about, or people who are, you know, just like not really functioning on all four cylinders, or need to have a kick up the arse to bring them back to reality, or haven't taken any responsibility over their own life, and instead they want, I don't know, the god and the goddess, or Jesus, or Baphomet, or whoever to take the responsibility for them, and they think that they will have all the goodness of the world brought to them if they do what the gods say, and if they don't do what the gods say, then terrible things are going to happen to them, or similar lies like that. I mean, will you come across these people? Yes, of course you will. By the score, by, you know, they're all out there, and they all say, oh, this worked, and their use of language is going to be stupid. I mean, fuck most of the people in my own industry, okay? Fuck most of the people who who have an interest in all this stuff, because like a lot of them are just like, oh, fuck off. I mean, and yes, I'm using the F-bomb too much because I've had a long day and I've been working hard and I'm stressed and I'm tired and all the rest of that stuff. And I'm under green light, and green light brings out the evil. Actually, it doesn't. It just makes me feel like I'm green, really. Yeah, green and drinking tea. It's the last drop of the mug gone. So, I recommend the spiritual healing books by Barbara Ann Brennan, B-R-E-N-N-A-N. I'm not affiliated with her whatsoever. She's a bit sort of angel, fairy, and crystal, but there's some interesting stuff there, okay? I recommend The Projection of the Astral Body by Sylvan Muldoon and Harewood Carrington. So that's Muldoon, M-U-L-D-O-O-N, and Carrington, C-A-R-R-I-N-G-T-O-N. And you can look into a few books on chaos magic as well. That's what I would recommend to the most part. But remember that they're still written by people, and people can make mistakes. Okay? I don't really recommend that much else. I mean, I've got like a couple of shelves worth of occult books there, and most of them are like gift books. You know, they're written for the kind of people who don't know what to give the complete and utter social outcast nephew of theirs, or the totally weird goth girl who's going through her teenage years, who's the daughter of an aunt who's related via the third marriage of so-and-so to such and such, and they still have to care for something. You know, that's the kind of books they are. Even some of the alleged good one. I got this book about runecraft, which has a section at the back of a bibliography, and it says that this author has written many books, some with titles as appalling as this one. He meant to say appealing, but he said Just start doing meditation and work up from there, okay? And yes, there will be people who say that don't tread outside of the circle or bad karma will come your way. And you know you're gonna get that. Most occultists are thick wankers. They're mad. They're mad. You know, conspiracy. And hey presto, my friendly battery's gone and died. Just I'm coming out with a really rather good rant, I get interrupted. You know, I was saying, like, conspiracy theories, conspiracy theorists and occultists, they're, like, you know, very close together. Why is that? Because occultists are thick paranoid wankers who are trying to look for answers everywhere in places where there aren't necessarily answers in the way in which they're looking for them. And that's, like, helped to define a lot of the stupid thinking, because, you know, it's, oh, it must be true, it must be true. Yeah, I mean, when I was younger, I fell prey to the same way of thinking, because I connected too many dots, okay, without looking at each little piece of information or experience and trying to string them together in a coherent manner. And I had to wait till I'm later in life before I can turn round and turn to, you know, the occult movement and say, you're mental. Okay, you're fucking mental. Alright, yes, I still do Ouija board seances, okay, yes, I still do pendulum dowsing things, you know, I mean, that's another good book. Tom Graves, Pendulum Dowsing, very good, right, because he starts out writing, like, from a, almost like Zen meditation way, and he goes into, like, a really skeptical approach, and also explaining how the thinking operates. Fucking good book. Alright, seriously, Tom Graves, Pendulum Dowsing, get that one, that's really, really, really good. Because, you know, he's not like a, oh, it does mean that the guides are talking to you. Yes, you ought to be open and think outwardly and be inwardly and be in your center, but be outward and think outward, and the universe sort of, you know, you know, Tom Graves is good. So, yes, that's one to go for, you know, just like, that one should be on your shelves, because it's like intelligent. Especially if you're a divination kind of person, you know, that's the kind of, like, that's the weird shit that, you know, you really want to be able to, like, resonate well with, and you want to, you know, just connect with. Let's just change the lighting just for the fuck of it. Let's go red, nice evil, sort of, like, we'll change that one as well. Come on, change, you bastard. Okay, I'll leave that one green. So now I look like a boat going into harbour with a port and starboard light going. Okay, well, never mind. Now I am rambling. Too much caffeine, not enough information, but too much caffeine. But either way, be skeptical. Alright? This is the world of the murky. This is the world of the mad. These are the people who aren't there. They're all hoping for a great time of change, but they don't even... Oh. Yes, let's bring forth the New Age movement. Well, what does that mean? We don't know, but we want it. Yes, yes. That's the closest you're going to get to a fucking sermon from me today, I'm telling you. Chillax.